We were lamenting the fact that so often we talk to spouses who are leaning into the marriage and their spouse is leaning out, and their leaning out spouse is likely past the point of no return. We can't always tell that, right? We don't always know if they're past the point of no return. But so often we talk to spouses, and I will say, and I don't mean for this to sound judgmental in any way, and this is purely anecdotal, we talk to more men, more husbands who are leaning in, whose wives are leaning out, and they feel blindsided, right? They feel blindsided and they're in despair. And what's frustrating for us is that we often think to ourselves, we wish you would have come to us sooner. Because when we find out what's really going on and we get a better sense of like what the warning signs were, what was happening, we're exploring the dynamics, there are signs. So we wanted to have a conversation about what these signs are. This is like a public service announcement of things that we don't want you to ignore in your marriage so that you don't get to the point where it's too late. This is not to say that there's like something wrong with men and that it's just a socialization. We're not faulting. We're not saying this is a character defect that's related to gender. We're talking about the way that there's been a socialization that enforces women being more relational, women receiving influence more, defining their identity and their value and their worth is much more relational. That is just, it's allowed, and it's allowed to express emotions more for women than it is for men. Men are not allowed that. And so it's not a dig. It's like, it's a real disservice. The history, and I know this is changing now. So we're talking about most of our clients are like 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s. Like we're talking about a certain like older generation. The younger generation, I think this is not the case necessarily as much as it used to be. But when I think about my generation, my parents' generation, a lot of the guys are just not allowed to have their feelings. They're not allowed to express their feelings. They have not formed their worthiness or their identity or their sense of self based on relationships. It's based on other things. And so a lot of times they come to us and they're like, we have everything. We have a great family. We've got great kids, great career. I've got it all. And a lot of times it's like, and our kids are grown and we're about to reach the empty nester phase. And now they want to leave. And it's devastating because it's like you have so much at stake and there's so much that you've been working for all this time, right? And a lot of the guys, they've been working their butts off for their families, for their spouses. And in their mind, it's like, what is the point of doing all of that if we get to the point where now my spouse wants to leave, when now we can finally actually enjoy the fruits of our labor a little bit more?